Hi, I'm Gary and welcome to my shop. In this video I'm going to show you how I modified my flip-top tool stand. The modification that I made was to reduce the height down a little bit because it was too tall for me. Anyways, I got the idea on how to build this stand in the first place from the videos that I've watched here on YouTube, and I'll put some links down below. Also a link to a PDF file that I made that has my notes and some of my sketches on building this flip-top tool stand. So we'll go and see how we do this. This is a flip-top stand that I have built and rebuilt. I got the original idea from, I think it was Art Mulder. I'll put the links for you in the description below. I've got my oscillating sander on here and my DeWalt planer under the bottom. I will flip around, use the tool of my choice. I use these slide bolts to lock the table in place. And what it does is spin it around and have my planer here at the top. Lock that in, and then I can use the planer. Also, I built in a drawer in the bottom here to hold parts and accessories. Got these locking wheels, so it spins around easily. And I can go back to my sander. Lock it all in place securely. Works really good. And I'll actually, this thing was 5 inches taller, and what I did, thankfully it worked out. Kind of took everything apart here, so I just had the two sides. Then I cut out 5 inches, and actually this board is what I had cut out of there, and I used that. I joined these with biscuit joints, and I'll show you that in the upcoming video clips. And then I attached these on here to give it more rigidity and more structural hold. And it's worked out pretty good to shrink it down to this 5 inches. Art Mulder made his. Yeah, he's kind of a tall guy, I guess, so his plans were a little bit higher, and it came out to be too high for my height. I'm 5'7½", so kind of short. So I shortened it up now, and it works a lot better for me. And I'll show you on a PDF file that I'll give you a link to of the plans that I had sketched up on paper. I don't use SketchUp yet. I'm still trying to learn how to do that. But I at least got the plans I sketched up on paper, although there were some changes because I reduced the height now. But you may still be able to get something from that. Okay, so I had cut 5 inches out of here so I can bring the height of the side of this cabinet down to a better working height for myself. And what I'm going to do is put some biscuits in between these here, where I've marked these at, for joining this. Then I'm going to put a board across here like this, and I'll put screws in at all these marks to reinforce it further. So I have my biscuit joiner here, and I'm using a number 20 biscuit, so that's what I've got this set for. And I will cut the biscuit holes here. Now, in the upper piece, I'm going to connect to that. I'll drill the holes, biscuit slots for this one too. Okay, so I have my biscuits into these slots, and I'm test fitting this to make sure it all fits up right. And I've tested with my clamps and my levels to make sure this stays flat. So what I will do is take this apart, apply the glue to all the slots, assemble this and clamp it up. Also, I'm going to use a one of my levels here, metal level, to help keep this good and flat as I glue up. The purpose of clamping this along like this is to keep this all parallel and level. And I will add my side clamps to pull these ends together. I'll try to keep these flat on here to help keep it fairly parallel. I also want to check, keep an eye here that this is not creating a warp, and so it's staying flat. Then what I do is I put some clamps on these ends, try and keep these in a line. Now we'll just sit and watch glue dry. Okay, the glue seems to be fairly well set up. It's been just about an hour, so I'm going to take the clamps off. Holding pretty well. So next I will glue this up. Get this lined up on this seam and get this all screwed down. Then I've got my center line here to line up with the seam that I made for these cut pieces. So I'm going to turn this over and coat this with some glue. I use my spreader here to get this all spread out. Try and get a good coating all the way through, all the way across. Add some more if I need to. Okay. Get this flipped over, line up my center lines and my marks to get this on about line. Then I will use my tapered drill bit, draw these lines. Then I'll just do up all of these here, draw it up tight. Okay, I've got all of those tightened in and glued, and what I'll do next is to route a 3/8 round over around the edge of that to soften it up. Gives it a nice round over the edge. Give it some time and then I'll scrape the glue after that. Okay, so here we are, ready to go back together with this thing. Got everything put back together again. And see, all this fits together as I put this together. Seems to be relatively close, so we've got some operation there. It's going to be a little bit off, but I hope not too much. Now what I have to do is to fasten these pivot ends together onto the sides, get those tight, and then check out my movement on the flip top. Okay, well, there's bolts in, so that the up top can rotate freely. A little bit of adjustment to make, and I should be able to go pretty good. Now I will fit the tools on here, and the spindle sander is the acid test to see that this spins freely enough for that to fit. Okay, so basically the acid test was that I was able to rotate this with the sander because that was the one that occupied the most depth on this, and it rotates all right. There's a few tweaks maybe to make to it to make it a little more smooth, but it works, and I can lock it in place and it'll be stable. So that's a good conversion, and it works out. I will assemble the rest of it to put the planer back onto the stand here. So I have this conversion done, and it works that I can flip the stand around to get my oscillating sander, and get my planer, and I can lock it in place so it stays. There's a few fine tweaks I need to make yet, but this works good. And most importantly is I've got my oscillating sander at a level that's a lot better for me for my height, because this works as a better height for me. I've reduced my height down by 5 inches from what it was before. So this works great for me. Well, to wrap this up, thank you for watching this video. Hope you enjoyed it, and I hope you got the inspiration to make something of your own. Please give me a like and share with your family and friends, and please subscribe to see what I may come up with next. Thank you.